and I want to get elbow to elbow. What that means is the crook of my elbow here on the inside is going to be exactly where the crook of his elbow here is on the inside as well. So I want a deep arm bar like this. If I can feed my hand to the other side of his body, that's where I want to be. The more shallow your arm bar is, and by shallow I mean the more it slides to the left here, and it's my wrist versus his elbow, this is a losing battle for me. Does that make sense, guys? This is a really, really important step because we're going to talk about the pressure that's derived from this arm bar, and it really boils down to having a deep arm here in this position and being able to work his shoulder to his ear. So I don't know how you guys have gone over the arm bar in the past. I want you to stop thinking about the arm bar as a circling position and think about the arm bar as a jamming position. Does that make sense? I'm going to pause there. It's a really important point. I want the motion of an arm bar to be, for every step that I go to the outside, I want this shoulder to jam to his ear, this way. Into him, into him, into him. When I run an arm bar and I circle my hips to the outside, I lose a lot of the pressure and the torque that I get from the position. Does that make sense, guys? You follow me so far? Everybody close your eyes for a second. Think about that with an arm bar. You have an arm bar and you're on top. And I want you to think about you're circling to the left and see the space between his hip and your hip. That's what we need to eliminate. And we do that by jamming the shoulder into the ear and working at a diagonal angle. You can open your eyes now. Does that make sense? Were you guys able to see this here? I don't want this position here with all this space. I want to jam him here. Keep this good base out here. This is your defense. I want to jam him here this way. I want the arm bar, I want you guys to think about it like this and not as a circling motion here. You see how Ben's able to sneak that arm back down when my pressure goes away? We're back to the first situation. Now I have just a wrist. I want this deep arm here. We're going to talk about options on this far side in a minute. But I want this deep arm, and I want the idea that for every step we take on the outside, we're jamming here. See how I lift his chest up? Because there's a lot of pressure there. You feel that, Ben? If I go to the outside, there's no pressure. When I jam him here, this way, see how he runs with me? His chest comes high. That's when you know you're doing it properly. And I'm taking all this time to break down the details before we get started because I want you guys to feel that effect. When you jam him and his shoulders into his ear, that's when you feel like he bumps, like his chest like bumps forward. You guys, can you picture that? Are you guys familiar enough with the arm bar to understand that? As I jam him here in this position, it's painful and his chest is going to come up a little bit. As I jam, just for the sake of this drill, I'm going to take the inside hand. As I jam him, his chest is going to come high here. This is what I'm looking for. If I circle, his chest doesn't have to come high, and now I can't lift him and expose him. If I jam him, my feet are moving at a diagonal angle this way, as opposed to this swinging circle out here. When I jam him, now his chest comes up. Does that make sense? So I'm going to break down and go over all the small details, but I want you guys, as we're drilling, to come back to that fundamental difference. Are you running your feet to the outside, or are you jamming diagonally? A little bit more on your toes. Go on your toes, if need be. There. No knees on the mat. No knees on the mat. Yeah, there you go. Now does that have the pressure there? Okay, perfect. That's great. See, the bottom man's giving feedback here. That's what we need. Make sure you have the pressure. Okay, step off. Yes. Okay, Annika, crank those fingers up this way. Yeah, good. And now your left shoulder will drive into his shoulder. Don't pull back or go forwards. Yes. Is that better, bottom man? Yeah. Okay, good. That's good feedback from the bottom person. It's really good. Okay, step off to the left-hand side. Good. Now lead the motion with your right foot. And every step you take, I want you to challenge yourself. Get these toes as close to the ear as possible. I don't want this foot to swing out here. Every step you take, I want it to be closer and closer to the ear and the shoulder. This is all in one compact position here. Does that make sense? Okay, go ahead, slowly walk around. Drive at the, yeah, good. Don't high leg over. Lead the arm bar with the right leg. Dennis, more right leg. Yes, good. More. There you go. Good. Good. Stay on the position, left foot recover. But look at this pressure that I have driving into the wall here. You guys used the wall for your stand-up the other day, right? To put the pressure into the wall. I want him to be carrying all of the weight, just like you guys did on the stand-up position. He's carrying all my weight here. This is heavy, right? I'm into it. For every 1 pound of your body weight that is in your knee or your butt or your thigh resting here is one pound easier for him. Does that make sense? The more I'm into this guy and driving, leading, walking, the harder his life is. Every last pound. Because how many times have you been stuck in this near fall position? You can't get that exposure right here. All you need is this tiny little bit. That you gotta get off your knees, off your butt. Walking here, driving. He carries every last pound, and that's that last little push to break those shoulders and get that exposure that you need. Right foot a little bit higher. Yeah, I want the right foot here, this way. He's carrying all of our weight. No butts, no knees, no ankles, no nothing on the mat. He or she's carrying everything. Now the right leg leads the dance. Go. Right foot, left foot. Right foot, left foot. Good, walking. This is great pressure here. Yes, keep going. Slow. It's great pressure, so you don't need to rush it. Yes, keep going. Walk this foot out there. Yep, keep coming. Keep coming.
There you go.
Can't overemphasize this enough, right? Even if the guy is not super good, but I'm lazy about my setup here, and I hang out here while I figure out how I'm gonna, grab an anchor on this side of the body. This guy's gonna start to defend. Yeah, exactly. Walk that hand forward. Good. Yeah, don't go out. Go forward with the hand for defense. Walk that hand out. Crawl those fingers. Yeah, exactly. Good. Because if you go out, you give me a little bit of space to recover, but when you go forward, walk, yeah, there it goes.
Is that the defense?
Yes, this is huge. You can lock your hands, even chain lock or butterfly, yeah, and extend the arm, or walk the fingers out, also works.
So we walk the fingers out?
Yeah, because you don't have a whole lot of power because I still have the arm bar, so you're gonna slowly walk those hands in front of you, walk those fingers in front of you. So I can't be lazy here and line up on my favorite side, guys. I go knees on the outside, toes on the inside this way, and I'm tight here. I'll even pinch this guy a little bit so he's not crawling forward. Good guys only need a tiny bit of space to be able to create that separation. Does that make sense? So if I get lazy and I'm back here, super low, or I'm off to the side, I'm giving this guy a huge advantage to defend. When I start neutral this way, in this position, now he doesn't know what I'm gonna do. So if this hand is too far away and I can't reach for that wrist, whatever it may be, instead I'm gonna punch, I'm gonna reach for that wrist as far as I can and then slap this half on. Watch how I do this. This is really important. I can't reach that finger, it's too far away. I walk my hand as far underneath him as possible, as high as I can, and if I need to, I'll use my head here and reach for his head, this way. But I fake for this wrist, or I try for this wrist, and the motion is good, and I'm gonna walk this hand towards his head, right here, this way. Keeping the bar tight. I sneak that half on there. And notice, guys, I'm still in neutral position here. One foot's on one side, one foot's on the other side. I can run an arm bar or a half from here. If this guy's like, oh shoot, I'm gonna get half Nelson, and cranks down that side, perfect. If you reach for the hand, boy, that's really bad actually. Because if you reach and you give me this opening here, this elbow, now I can run this half very easily. Does that make sense? Yeah. So instead, if you crank down on that side, yeah, he doesn't want to give the half. Instead, he cranks down, perfect. I roll over the top of the wrist, and I go back to my arm bar position. Here, this way. And notice I'm covering the face, turning the face with my knee, the inside of my knee, and now I have my arm bar, and I threaded a second arm bar here on the other side for a stack position. This is where I like to be. My head is one point of contact, my other 2 feet are my other 2 points of contact right here. There's no way this guy's going anywhere from here, guys. Really, really important. So here, I have this arm bar position. I'm reaching for the wrist, I can't grab it, whatever it may be. I'm gonna walk that hand out. Here, use my head, thread this half. If he doesn't respect the half and his elbow's up this high, I hop to the half side and I run on my toes, nice and slow, here, over the top, this way. And again, I have this stack position. Arm bar, my head is one point of contact, my 2 feet are my other 2 points of contact, and here, I'm looking to get this full. This way. Really, really tight in here, guys.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Fashion of grabbing this pinky here, I'll come over the top and grab this bone here on the inside again. Turn this way actually for me. I'll grab this over the top bone, and as you guys will feel when you're playing with this before and after practice and stuff, this is sensitive in here, right? Like it's almost like, you know, when you grab one finger, it hurts, right? That's why it's illegal. But instead, when we grab this bone, there's a lot of pressure involved in this position here that I can't get by just grabbing the wrist. When I grab the wrist, he's just going to straighten this arm, like crank this arm this way, here, elbow to the ceiling, and be able to get away from that position. Here, if I go over the top of this hand and I go head lever in the side, keep this arm straight here, don't let me have this position. Here, as I have this head lever position, guys, I'm gonna be able to thread my bar. I reach from my right hand is gonna come to the hand this way. I'm keeping this arm straight, you guys. When he bends this, he has more power here. He can crank here. I'm gonna keep this hand straight, my head lever position. I grab this wrist here and I feed my bar. Does that make sense? Really, really important. I'm fighting a losing battle if I let him bend this arm. I'm gonna keep this as straight as I can this way. Here, over the top, grab not the finger, but right underneath it, the bone right here. My right hand, notice I'm still trying to be in a neutral position. I have one leg in the middle here, guys. My right hand is gonna reach and grab this wrist, completely locked, straight arm. I'm gonna win this position here. Is this painful?
Yeah.
Yeah, this hurts for this guy. Now I grab the wrist with my right hand, my left hand threads this bar in here. I like to pinch while I'm getting set too. Here, this way. Get that arm free. No, the left arm. This is stuck in here. Does that make sense? Because I'm pinching and I'm blocking while I'm figuring out what do I want to do. Okay, perfect. That wrist is close. Bam, that's my option. He keeps that hand too far away. Keep that hand really far away and maybe start to crank down on this. Maybe I'm like, oh, I don't have that bar as tight as I thought I did. I'm gonna punch, walk this forward, get to my half side. But I'm not in a rush down here, right? You know what I mean? I'm in great position, I'm neutral, I haven't given away what I wanna do, and I can figure out what's next for me. Here, if this guy is being like, you know, a little bit younger wrestler and doesn't know, and he's too far out here, I'll very simply just walk around it. Circle.
Schultz.
Circle. Here. Crank. If he's keeping that hand too far away, hand goes away, I'll punch for the half. If that wrist is close, give me the wrist. If that wrist is close, I'll take the wrist and run my bar. So a couple different options there. As long as we can get to the bar, I think it's one of the most dominating positions in folk style. It's so